Good evening and welcome to the May 17th Coeur d'Alene City Council meeting. The first item on the agenda is to call the roll. Actually, all council are present and the clerk will note that they are. Secondly, we have invocation tonight by Pastor Stephen Finley with the Church of Christ of Coeur d'Alene. Pastor Finley, welcome tonight.
Let us go to God in prayer. Our mighty God, creator of heaven and earth and all that is in them. Lord, you rule over the affairs of men, and you are the only lawgiver and judge. Lord, it is you who have put these men and women in place in leadership over this city. God, we would pray for Councilwomen Wood, Miller, and Evans, and Councilmen Gookin, English, and McEvers. Thank you that they're willing to lead, Lord, that they have a heart and the ability to preside over the matters of Coeur d'Alene. Lord, there are many people in this city, and no matter what decision they make, there will be those who disapprove. Lord, we ask that you give them fortitude to lead. God, grant them wisdom to lead, discernment to know what is good and best for the people of Coeur d'Alene. Lord, be merciful when and if they're short-sighted, and magnify the good that they do for the blessing of our city. Lord, let us all give them a measure of grace as they take the lead in the shaky soil of local politics. God, we want to pray on behalf of Mayor Jim Hammond. Thank you, Lord, for his heart for service throughout his life. In his time as mayor of Coeur d'Alene, dear Lord, let him preside over an era of peace, prosperity, and good, and let his leadership be effective and long-lasting. Lord, we want to thank you for our police and firefighters, for these men and women of courage who run into harm's way when everyone else runs out of it. Lord, we ask that you would be with them and protect them as they protect others. Lord, bless them, and we are blessed to have them, dear Lord. God, we would ask that you bless their families, that as they work so much, dear Lord, and when they have times of rest, we ask that you would bless their rest and restore their spirits, dear Lord. God, let them know the value they bring to this community. Lord, we want to pray for the judges that we have in Coeur d'Alene. I have seen personally the way they uphold the law with mercy and compassion. And Lord, in this community, we pray that all of us would be those who live in justice and do kindness, dear Lord. God, we have so many public servants in this city. There are too many to name. But Lord, bless all those who serve this community for its good. Lord, we want to pray for the people of Coeur d'Alene. You have blessed us in being members of such a wonderful community and in such a beautiful part of your creation, Lord. And I would ask that we would be a people known for our kindness and goodness and love for our neighbors, and that you would turn our hearts, the hearts of this community, to love and honor you. God, we would ask for your protection from those who would do this community harm, and ask that you would expose all corruption in this community. Ask that we would be a people of justice, that you would grant us peace, and that you would prosper this city. There are so many people who depend on the well-being of this community. We ask for your blessing in it. Lord God, as you look down on Coeur d'Alene, we ask that you would forgive us, and that we in turn would forgive one another. Almighty God, we would humbly ask your blessing on our city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Woody, would you please lead the pledge?
I would be honored. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to a presentation by Marita Deffenbaugh and Tony Perka with Elevate Academy. Would you please come forward? Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Hammond and council and everyone here. Appreciate the time to share about Elevate Academy North. My name is Marita Diffenbaugh. I'm the principal, and I have with me our vice principal, Tony Perka. we're just really excited to share with you the progress that we have been making with the community over the last 3 years for this school. First of all, this school is a combination of a middle school, a high school, and a career technical school. And with the purpose of bringing students hope, opportunity, and community. And the students that we're really seeking to support are the ones that haven't yet found success in school. So as educators, both Tony and I have a passion for following this question: what if we could provide an opportunity for every single student to find some hope and success, to discover what their strengths are, and to grow them from that point? And the ingredients of Elevate Academy just really called to our hearts, and not only our hearts, but many hearts in this community. So with that, we'll explain where we're located. We're at the just south of 41 and Prairie in Post Falls. And while we are located in Post Falls, the question that we asked the community, Kootenai County as a whole, is the school like this needed or wanted in our area? And it was a resounding yes from the city leadership to our industry partners to our educational leaders to say, yes, please, this is a great idea. It's going to be a school that can help fill the gap and provide flexibility and opportunity, maybe beyond the scope of what could be existing for certain students. And so with that, we are called Elevate Academy North, meaning that we take our buses and go a little bit in Hayden, a little bit in Coeur d'Alene, a little bit in Post Falls, and we serve a pretty big group of students. And so that's just kind of who we are and where we've come from. We have 240 students that are currently enrolled at Elevate Academy North. We will get our keys in the hand August 5th, God willing, and on the 23rd, students walk through the door of this brand new school. About 44,000 square feet. We have 2 buildings. Tony always shows the students in our welcome meetings a walkthrough of what our building looks like, and you'll be able to get a chance to come visit us and take a tour yourself with the students being your tour guide. We hope to do that sometime in October. We'll have ribbon cuttings or towards the end of September. We haven't quite decided. There's lots of variables in place. So we'll get going on that. We've just had the pleasure of visiting with about 230 students and their families. The Idaho Department of Labor allowed the both of us to set up camp there, really. And we were there a half hour at a time, meeting with family, one family at a time, and asking them the questions, asking the students the questions of, what are you interested in? And what do you like to do for fun? And what is something that you wish would be different in school? So we've been collecting a lot of that information, and we've learned a lot. While we were chasing kids and finding students, other people found us, and we are just excited that we have a dream team of a staff joining us. We are still looking for bus drivers, so if anyone has any ideas, we'd love to involve your support in that. But I guess I just am excited to stand here and share with you that our school is a stone soup example. And I don't know if you know that story, but I used to teach it to my students all the time. The idea of someone having something to share, an idea, a thought, could this serve our community? And so we brought the stone, if you will, and then with that came many industry partners, some of them in this room, that came up with, okay, and then we'll bring this part, and then we'll bring this part, and the next part, and the next part, and now we have a school, and it is dynamic and a wonderful opportunity. And I'll just pass this over to Tony for him to share a couple of takeaways from students and parents in our meetings.
Well, the big takeaway is, like, the kids excited about industry positions, right? Because we are a technical trade school, so we have automated manufacturing, construction, welding, culinary arts, public safety, medical arts, and business entrepreneurship, and it's integrated. So as the kids are going through one of those pathways, the academics is tied in. So the math relates, the English, the science, the history, and so it's pretty dynamic in that way. And as we were explaining it to one of these kids, who 6th grader, and he was really quiet during the meeting, and as we were talking about the integration and a day in the life, he just kind of, his eyes sprung up and he goes, "This changes everything." And, everybody, the parents and Marita and I, everybody kind of teared up because, it was just from his heart, and that's kind of what we're about.
Right. Just this idea of can everyone find a win at school? Can everyone find a place and a way to contribute? So with that, we're going to continue to do research in the area and ask the students to help us with that. We also will have a career and community development coordinator that will help us continue the great relationships we've already had. Our school belongs to 3 different chambers. It was just really important that we brought this opportunity to our area as a whole. And that's a reflection of this community, how integrated everyone is, and how we've noticed that businesses really do work across city lines. They do work throughout the county, and it's been fun to be part of that. We know that our students will have opportunities for job shadows, for apprenticeships, for even registered apprenticeships and work-based learning. We thought we were going to be preparing our seniors for this, and actually we've talked with many industry partners and they're like, no, when they're 16 we're ready, but we need people to show up and be kind and get along with others and be learners, and that is what we'll be focusing on at our school in addition to the academics and the trades. So we do stand for any questions, and we just appreciate your time.
Are you chartered through the state or through Post Falls?
We are chartered through the state, through the Idaho Charter Commission.
Yeah, I was the first chairman of that commission, and so I've learned over the years that I worked on that commission just how challenging it is to build a charter school from scratch, and I commend you in doing so.
Thank you.
Christy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I'm just curious, what are your CTE programs, and does your curriculum align with K-Tech and the high schools in case students are transferring?
Good. Thank you for your question. I'm not sure if we do Robert's rules, so I'll just answer it. Okay.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So with that, imagine us being part of the continuum that already exists here, and that was really important to us. So here we have K-Tech, and we have the Parker Center, and we have a lot of other pieces in between. We have our amazing districts, around us as well. Well, we're 6th through 10th grade this first year, and then we'll be 6th through 12th grade after year 3. The students that we are seeking to serve are the ones that may or may not qualify in 11th grade to be able to go to K-Tech, so we really are filling a gap. And so with that, we have amazing partners with K-Tech and the team over there, as well as the Coeur d'Alene Economic Development team. And so this has just been a lot of what's helped us understand what to offer. So what we offer is production and service industries. When we think about the service industries, that's the medical assisting. We really want to make sure that our students would have an opportunity to earn maybe a certified medical assistant certification before they graduate, or maybe it's CNA or maybe EMT, right? There's some options there. And then we have culinary arts as another kind of service/production industry. And then we have automated manufacturing and construction. We have public safety, which involves first responders all the way to a law enforcement opportunity in the future, and business entrepreneurship. So those are some of the ones we're starting with. We also have been really trying to develop the aerospace aviation pathway. And that's one that we're not done with yet. So we'll start it off with drones and we'll grow it from there. We have dreams of SpaceX and other things, but these are all coming from what the kids are interested in as well, and they're very interested in flight.
And those teachers are right from industry, so
Yes.
they're certified technical educators, just like at K-Tech.
Yeah.
Woody?
So I was having a flashback to 7th grade, moving from grammar school to junior high school. And
Quite
they
a ways
had-
back.
And that's why I was asking, we had wood shop, we had electric where you kind of got exposed to this stuff. You didn't have to become an expert. Is that part of this, so they can touch things and do things?
Absolutely, it's very hands-on, and so for the middle school programming, it's exploratory, and it will really match what remembering about with shop class or home ec or those types of things. And that will be, we have time for that to do 6th through 8th grade. Then when they get and they'll be exploring all 6 of the trades, mind you, and they'll be doing that about 6 to 8 weeks at a time. When they get to the 9th grade level, we ask them to choose 3 so they can have more time in the trades, and that gives them about 12 weeks at a time. By the time they get to 11th grade, they'll pick 2. And so what we really are leaning on is what are those skills that are also just good for us as humans, to not only maybe give us respect for the people that serve us, but and that we can understand their jobs, and when we hire them, we understand this great resource that we have, but also what can I do with my own car and my own house and feed my own family, and we're weaving in a lot of financial literacy as well.
It's taking me back, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation and
Appreciate it.
best wishes.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is public comments. We have one person wishing to speak tonight. Shirley Freeman. Good evening.
Yes, I'm Shirley Whitehead Freeman, and I'm from Oregon. I moved here in 2005 when my sister died of cancer. I bought my house at 3rd and Hazel from Troy Tymason. Then I also bought a float house from Clark's Jewelers, Lot 6 at Coeur d'Alene Lake. They jerked my grandfather clause, acting like it was my fault that the float home was falling apart. And actually, it was those boats speeding. I'd be inside the float home, and the waves would actually knock me down. And yet, I lost the float home for that, the grandfather's float home. And I had an offer of $650,000 from Troy, Kevin from North Dakota, where he was supposed to get money from his gravel pit. Anyway, what I'm going to do, since I only have 3 minutes, is just go over all this, and then you can ask individual questions about the different things that I have. I graduated from the University of Oregon in 1989, and I was on the dean's list. I spent a year in Japan. My degree is in psychology. I was an alternate to the Republican National Convention in the 70s. My husband was the one that voted against Agnew and voted for David Brinkley for vice president, so if you remember any of that. Anyway, when the float home was, a note was put on my car at my float home, and I said, you know, you guys keep bothering me. I mean, I just feel like if I had a damn gun, I'd just shoot myself. And I went out to the float home, and I was working on it, and they came out there and arrested me and put in the nut unit. And then when the shrink showed up, they said, what are you doing in here? Next day I went back out there because my wave runner was still out there, and everything had been stripped from the inside of my float home. So I know the police did it because they're the only ones that knew I wasn't there because, like I said, the wave runner was left out there. 2.5 years ago, my house burned, and Neil Foster of Prime Builders gave me a bid, and he said he thought he could get it done by December 15th of 2 years ago. It's still not even permitted. And when I was living in Eugene, Oregon, I owned Cedar Mills Construction Company. We built churches, homes from scratch, bought remodeled houses and everything, which reminds me that Troy Tymason house that I bought on 3rd Street. I just loved that house. Troy tried to talk me out of buying it, but I didn't pay any attention to him. And the internet permit still process is not showing up on the internet. It's still showing that it's not, the house plans aren't even. So I think you're underemployed with your people because there's too many people moving in here, and they need to have these house permits done. Neil Foster told me he will never build in Coeur d'Alene again. I've had 8 cancer surgeries. I started in 2009. I'm Tolowa, Native American from Northern California. I was born in Brookings, Oregon, graduated from high school in 1960 from Brookings. I'm 79 years old. I had a guy that was supposed to paint my basement. Instead of painting it, he jerked out all the sheetrock, so I fired him. He pushed the basement heater in and squatted in there with some other lady. And when another person came by, I said, well, I need to have the sheetrock reinstalled. He said, I can do that. He went down there and found the guy in the basement. So he said, Shirley, there's somebody down here. And so I went down there to find out who it was. Well, it was the original guy that was supposed to do the painting. And I said, you need to get the hell out of here. I mean, you're not supposed to be here. Is my time up?
Yes.
Okay. They put me in jail. I was in jail for a week. Then when the house burned down, I moved in the garage. They kicked me out of there. the builder's telling me, Neil Foster's telling me that he thinks that they're gonna make me tear down the garage in the driveways.
You have some very legitimate concerns, but none of those of which are under our control. Your float house belongs with the Department of Lands. The police that you speak of would be the sheriff's office, not the city police. Perhaps, since you know Troy, you can visit with him about
I have.
the proper folks that you might take your complaints to.
I'm
because
not gonna worry about it. I'm supposed to be dead anyway.
I'm sorry, there's
They told me 2
this
years. I
is not
was supposed to be
something
dead
for
in
which we
2011, and here I am still
have any
fighting for a place
control.
to live.
best
Okay.
wishes to you, ma'am.
The last complaint that I had was, I went to Miracle Ear a couple of days ago. They told me they could give me a restaurant certificate if I went and took the hearing thing, and then they lied to me. They told me that because half my brain was not working, or I didn't hear out of my right ear, which I never have, but anyway, they said that only half my brain was working. Well, if I get a 140 IQ, if I haven't had hearing for my whole life, they're lying to me. And I talked to people at Bridge about doctors and nurses, and they said, there's no way your hearing is not hooked into the brain like that, and that had nothing to do with it. So anyway, that was a complaint that's just going on today. So if there's anything else that you need, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
But I shouldn't be hauled away from my own house because I'm trying to get rid of a squatter in my basement. And I guess that's it.
Thank you. Are there any city council comments? Hearing none, I would seek your approval for the appointment of Shannon Sardell to the Historic Preservation Commission and Mary Lee Reba to the Arts Commission.
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion and a second before you. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed with nay. Motion carries. The consent agenda is now before you.
I'm having technical difficulties. Help me.
last week.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, including resolution number 22-023.
Second.
Motion before you. Further
Thank you.
discussion on the motion. Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll, please?
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
Aye.
McEvers?
Yes.
Gookin?
Affirmative.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Thank you, council. We have several public hearings. There are different sign-up sheets for each one of those public hearings if you wish to speak. And please do so that we have your desires on that list should you wish to testify. The first one is a proposed annexation and staff reports by Mike Bahari. Mike?
Good
Welcome.
evening, Mayor and Council. Pull this up.
Thank you.
Oh, I miss my grid.
There we go. Just just hit enter, okay. All right, good evening, Council and Mayor again. This is a public hearing for item A-3-22. The applicant is 15th Street LLC, and it's represented by Lake City Engineering. They're requesting the annexation of 3.91 acres in conjunction with zoning approval from County Agriculture Suburban to R12 zoning district on property that is located at 3511 and 3525 North 15th Street. Legal notice was published in the Coeur Press on April 30th, 2022, and all other legal notifications have been made. Here's a location map indicating where this property is located. It's here highlighted in red. This is 15th Street. The green indicates the city limits. You can see there's holes. This is the county, this is in the county, and the county, some holes in the city. So here's a close-up aerial photograph of the property. You can see it's highlighted in red. It consists of 2 parcels. It's a bird's eye view looking north. This is 15th Street. This is Lunsford. Bird's eye view looking southwest. This property is located in the city's ACI. See, this is indicated in yellow. Property is located here. The applicant has submitted an annexation map as part of their request, indicating the exact area that is to be annexed. The existing zoning is County Ag Suburban with R5 to the west and north. We have R8, R17, and R12 to the east and R12 to the south. And the applicant is requesting R12 zoning with the annexation request. The R12 district is intended as a residential area that permits a mix of housing types at a density not greater than 12 units per gross acre. Principal permitted uses in the R12 district are as follows: administrative, duplex housing, essential services, home occupations, neighborhood recreation, public recreation, and single-family housing. There are 4 findings that need to be met in order for an annexation to be approved. Findings B8 through B11. The first one is finding B8, that the proposal is or is not in conformance with the comprehensive plan. This is our new comprehensive plan future land use map. This property is located here in the northeast part of the city. You could drill down even closer, and it's located within 2 land use types. It's located within the compact neighborhood and the mixed use low. Place types represent the form of future development as envisioned by the residents of Coeur d'Alene. Place types will in turn provide the public policy level guidance that will inform the city's development ordinance. Each place type corresponds to multiple zoning districts that will provide a high level of detail and regulatory guidance on items such as height, lot size, setbacks, adjacencies, and allowed uses. So the first place type that this property is located is in the compact neighborhood. And compact neighborhood places are medium-density residential areas located primarily in older locations in Coeur d'Alene where there is an establishment street grid with bicycle and pedestrian facilities. Development is typically single-family homes and duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, townhomes, green courts, and auto courts. Supporting uses typically include neighborhood parks, recreation facilities, and parking areas. The compatible zoning districts within the compact neighborhood place type is R12, R17, MH8, NC, and CC zoning districts. The second place type that this property is located in is in the mixed-use low. Mixed-use low places are highly walkable areas, typically up to 4 stories. Development types are primarily mixed-use buildings with retail, restaurants on corners or along entire ground floor frontage, but could also include townhomes and multifamily housing. Floors above are residential and office, or a combination of those uses. Multifamily residential development provides additional housing options adjacent to mixed-use buildings. This place type is typically developed along a street grid that has excellent pedestrian and bike facilities with mid-block crossings as needed to provide pedestrian access. The compatible zoning districts within the mixed-use low place types are C17, C17L, NC, and CC zoning districts. Although the subject property lies within 2 land use place types, the compact neighborhood place type is compatible with the proposed annexation with the R12 zoning. Here's the comprehensive plan goals and objectives as it relates to this annexation request. The goal for environmental and recreation is to provide diverse recreation options, and the objective, encourage publicly owned and or private recreation facilities for citizens of all ages. This includes sports fields and facilities, hiking and biking pathways, open space, passive recreation, and water access for people, and motorized and non-motorized watercraft. The next goal is growth and development. Develop a mix of land uses throughout the city that balance housing and employment with preserving the qualities that make Coeur d'Alene a great place to live. And the objective is to achieve a balance of housing product types and price points, including affordable housing to meet the city needs. See pages 13 and 14 of the staff report for the full list of comprehensive plan goals and objectives. Finding B9, that public facilities and utilities are or are not available and adequate for the proposed use. This application request has been routed through the city departments, and each department has indicated that there are adequate public utilities and public facilities available. Finding B10, that the physical characteristics of the site do or do not make it suitable for the request at this time. The site is generally flat and has a slight slope to the southwest. The western portion of the site is vacant of buildings and is in the natural state with grass and trees located on it. Here's a topographic map indicating the topography. As you can see, it's relatively flat. These are 5-foot contours sloping towards the southwest. Here's some site photos. This is on 15th Street looking south. This is on 15th Street looking west. This is on the center of the property looking north. This is on the center of the property looking west. And this is on the center of the property looking south. The last finding is finding B11, that the proposal would or would not adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood with regard to traffic, neighborhood character, and/or existing land uses. The city engineer has indicated that the subject property is bordered by 15th Street, which is a major collector street. Traffic from the proposed residential development is estimated to generate approximately 21 a.m. peak hour and 25 p.m. peak hour trips per day. The Streets and Engineering Department has no objection to the annexation request. Here's a land use map indicating the surrounding land uses. You got single family to the south, to the west and to the north, and to the east you have multifamily and duplex housing. Decision point tonight is the annexation of 3.91 acres in conjunction with zoning approval from County Agriculture Suburban to R12 zoning district. City Council will need to consider this request and make appropriate findings to approve, deny, or deny without prejudice. And that concludes my presentation.
What do you have a question?
Mike, what is a auto court?
Auto court is like an RV park.
So that's allowed,
I think it's in the R12.
R12,
Yeah.
but not in your new, the new word you used. The new districts, is that what it was called?
Place types.
Place types.
Yeah.
So place types go over the zoning, or zoning goes over the place types?
The place type is the future land use plan that indicates what type of zoning would be compatible with that place type. And there was 3 or 4 zoning districts right here. So for this place type, compact neighborhood,
Okay.
compatible zoning districts would be the R12, R17, MH8, NC, and CC.
So it doesn't have to be single-family homes, which is what it appears around it, correct?
If the applicant came in with an R17 zoning request, it would be compatible with R17. Or if they want to do an auto camp in the MH8, they would be able to
Okay,
request that at that time as well.
we're learning this new language of your guys, right? New comp plan,
Yeah.
thanks.
Dan?
Well, just to clarify, so this, basically, the red there is kind of, well, kind of the middle of a square hamburger. It almost looks, that's surrounded by city, and then this is still a little section of county land, and if we approve this, there'll be kind of a middle section that'll be
There'll be-
city.
This will be part of the city. These other pieces will still be out, but eventually, most likely in the
Yeah,
future,
but it's
they'll
all,
be annexed in eventually.
yeah, coming that way, so, okay, thanks.
Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike, so I'm looking at the site performance standards, minimum yard sizes. Is that going to be enforced? Front yard requirements, 20 feet, side 5 and 10 feet, rear 25 feet?
If they did straight zoning and they built according to the subdivision, they would be standard. But if they do a PUD, they would apply, they could allow for different setbacks through the PUD request. And they are on file for a PUD and subdivision that goes to Planning Commission in June 14th.
Do we know the contents of that PUD, or is
Yeah,
that relevant to this hearing?
It is duplex housing, R12, 16 lots, 32 units.
What about setbacks?
The
Well,
setback,
or just ask this generic question. Will the PUD be modifying the setbacks?
yes, it will.
And the road, and I don't know if I read this in here or you said it, but the road, there's going to be a private road in here?
It's a private road.
So it's effectively just a long driveway.
It'll be in a separate track, but it'll be maintained by the HOA.
And the fire department is okay with this private road?
They have submitted comments on that, and there's some turnarounds that they have to implement, and they have done that. Yeah, they have met
It's
the
not
fire-
in the staff report, it just says the fire department's going to review it later.
But as far as what's before you tonight is just the zoning and the annexation, not the PUD and what's gonna happen. Any of those uses in the R12 are allowed, and that's kind of what's before you tonight.
But still, we have the fire department, the streets department, water, wastewater, provide us our feedback to see if the zone change can handle it, but they don't do that for a PUD, which is why I hate them. So, I hate the PUDs, not our departments. Yeah, it seems like that would be concerning, given that I assume that the applicant's going to use this slideshow that we have in our packet?
They're here to present tonight.
Yeah, okay, so I'll probably ask that question at that time. Thank you,
Okay.
Mike.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mike. Now open the public hearing, and I see Drew coming forward. Mr. Dittman, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Do you want to swear him in?
Good evening.
Actually, I don't know that the presenter has to be sworn in. They do have to? Okay.
They're getting paid, aren't they?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. Drew Dittman, Lake City Engineering, 126 East Poplar Avenue in the great city of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Mike covered a lot of what I wanted to cover, so I'll cover a few things, and I'm sure you guys have some questions for me. Again, here's the parcel. It is in the middle of a county island. It's an infill property there on 15th. We're annexing or requesting to annex 2 parcels. There are 6 parcels there total. Ideally, we would have been able to bring them all in. It just doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. We were able to bring in 2 of them. We're requesting the R12 zoning. Here's the existing zoning map. So you can see we've got R12 to the south, R17 to the east, and R5 to the north and to the west. So the R12, in our opinion, seems to be an appropriate zoning request. These are the 4 findings that Mike went through, so I'm really not going to go through them. If you have questions, feel free to ask me at the end. Just a couple of things I do want to touch on. In the comprehensive plan, it is split, designated. The north piece is designated compact neighborhood, while the south piece is designated mixed use low. Both of those are compatible with the requested R12 zoning designation. Actually, they allow R17, but we're requesting the R12 zoning designation. Again, it is an infill piece. It is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. There are existing houses that are there that are currently being served by city services. So from that standpoint, it does make sense to go ahead and annex this. So I guess with that, I will answer questions.
Questions for Drew? Dan, looks like you have one.
A few. Is this the slideshow that's in our packet, where the last slide shows kind of your proposed layout?
It is very similar to the one I believe that's in your packet, yes.
Okay, well, it's very tiny writing, so I don't know what is in the lower right corner. It'd be the southeast corner of the property. It doesn't look like there's any homes there, so what's going in that vacant spot?
In the southeast corner of the property is currently vacant. So this portion of the property here,
Yeah,
there's currently a home there.
so you're just going to keep that home?
Intent is to keep the home that's there.
Oh, okay. And so this is going to be a private road in there, and my concern is about a fire truck, so that our fire truck's not having to back up.
Sure. Tonight's an annexation hearing. If Mr. Adams will let me talk about subdivision stuff, I'll be more than happy to do it, but he's going to yell at me in about 2 seconds that we're not here to talk about subdivision stuff.
I won't yell at him, but those are all things that are going to be conditioned at the time of the subdivision PUD hearing. Fire will weigh in and on the exact plan that's being proposed and whether it meets the fire code.
Need to key your mic.
Nope.
I thought I was. Sorry about that. So the fire department will weigh in at the PUD subdivision before the application, before the planning commission, when the plans are more fleshed out. Fire department will put conditions on if they need a turnaround.
Okay.
So I could, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go
Like I
ahead.
say, we have submitted a subdivision in PUD. We do intend to develop this in a residential fashion with single-family and duplex lots, and it will be a private street. We have gone through project review, and we've met with the fire department, and they have reviewed it, so I can at least tell you that information. But as Mike had indicated, we do have a PUD subdivision hearing in front of planning and zoning next month.
Okay, so the reason for the PUD is to do what then?
Is to a couple of things. Is one, we like the private street because it allows us to do some different things with the lot sizes. To answer your question earlier, we will have reduced setbacks, not in the front and not in the rear. We're asking for reduced side yard setbacks to 5 feet instead of the 10 feet. So those are the reasons for the PUD.
Okay, that's just, 5-foot setback's really scary for me, because, one house burns, the one next to it will burn.
5 and 5 is still in conformance with the fire code.
I understand. It's just scary to me. So that's where you're gonna make up your, I guess technically, does that increase the density? Does that, or just allow you to put more units into the pattern that you've created?
Through a PUD, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, through a PUD process, you are not allowed to increase the density.
Okay, what is it, so it just allows you to reduce the setbacks?
It
And
reduces
the private
setbacks.
road?
The private road, it reduced the setbacks. We can change some lot sizes around, that kind of thing, but we cannot increase the density, overall density through a PUD.
And the private road, my guess, is the reason you're choosing to do that is because otherwise the city would require you to do a road that would be bigger than what you need.
Yes and no. It's kind of a dead-end piece. The road, there's nowhere for it to connect to, and so we went through project review, and it seemed the easiest alternative or solution was to do it as a private road, because a city road would go through and have a cul-de-sac at the end. It really wouldn't promote connectivity, so a private road seemed to fit best. We presented that, we talked with staff about it, and they agreed.
Okay, but there is, you did mention, if I heard you correctly, that there's an interest in the properties north and south.
There's not an interest, that's why
There
we're
isn't?
not. Yeah,
Okay, so I thought.
at least that I know of, that my client has purchased or bought, yeah.
But at the intersection, the road, private road has a T, which means theoretically you could.
No, the private road could not go through to this street here, and I don't remember the name of this street in that subdivision because there's houses already here.
What was this,
It has to be a dead-end road.
to the project, to, if there was, like you bought the lot to the south or the north,
Mhm.
then the private road could connect to those two?
It could connect to those two,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Thanks.
Other questions? Kiki?
Thank you. So in your narrative, you talk about one of the findings, B8. One of the items you cited was under community and identity, goal number CI3. It talks about this annexation request providing affordable, low-income, or workforce housing. How, and is this just a vague throw in the narrative here, or what?
No, it's not, and you probably know I was on your presentation last week, and I've been following that. It's tough to say that we're gonna do workforce affordable housing. I'm an engineer, you guys know me, I'm up here presenting to you guys all the time, and I go, well, what does that mean? And affordable means one thing to one person. So, if you can tell me what the price of a gallon of gas costs tomorrow, I can tell you how much a house is gonna cost to build in a year from now. I can tell you that through the R12 zoning and through the PUD process, it allows us to provide a more affordable housing, and that's the intent with this project, is to do that. Now, is it a workforce affordable? I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know what that definition of that is. The only way to get there, not the only way, one of the best ways to get there is through density, is through allowing things with the PUD such as private streets and reduced setbacks, which is what we're trying to do. So yes, we're trying to provide affordable housing. I guess I just don't know what the definition of affordable housing means, because it's different for everybody. And like I said, with the price of lumber the way it is, the price of labor the way it is, gasoline, I can't tell you how much it's going to cost to build a house and whether or not that's affordable. It's just, I don't have a crystal ball that is that good.
Okay, well,
I'm
that's,
not trying to avoid your question, because yes, the intent is to provide housing that is available to meet the needs that are out there. That's what we're trying to do.
okay. And as you have been in all my presentations, you know this is my passion.
Absolutely.
And so I know that there are multiple things that have been brought up over the last year that could be incorporated into a program, into a PUD, into anything that you're doing. I don't have a crystal ball. None of us have a crystal ball. And if you want to define affordable, that's somewhat of a moving target, but we have done it. We know that our median income, average median income, 80 to 120% AMI, people cannot afford to live here. There are tools in the toolbox that are available for developers to utilize. There are deed restrictions, there are limitations on asset incomes, there are first rights of refusals. Are any of these in you and your client's discussion?
They are. I don't think it's appropriate to discuss those at an annexation hearing. I'd be more than happy to talk with you, I guess, offline about that, and perhaps I can get my client and you can get on conversation and talk about some of those things. I think they would be open to those conversations. Again, I'm just not sure that's appropriate at an annexation hearing.
Well, the answer to the question was they are, and if you are considering them, that's what I want to hear. This isn't the time for saying, duplexes are going to create affordable housing. Those days are gone. So I really would be willing to sit down with you or get any of the team together. But it is time to put some teeth into some of these agreements and some of these conversations, and I just want to hear that you're doing that and that that's important.
We can, and I'm certainly want to do it. Again, I obviously have taken heart to that too, because I was on your presentation the other day and I've been following that, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Further questions?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cody Funk is in favor. Did he wish to testify?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else signed up to testify, that I'll close the public hearing. Are there any further comments from staff? Seeing there are none, this proposal is before you, Council. How do you wish to act?
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to move to approve a 322, which is a plus or minus 3.2 acre proposed annexation from County Ag Suburban to City R12, location 3511 and 3522 North 15th, applicant 15th Street Investments LLC, and develop the necessary findings and order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion on the motion? Yes, Dan.
Mr. Mayor, I was going to say, I'm still concerned about the setbacks between the houses. That's pretty close. Permeable space is very important. We need to replenish our aquifer, and we need to make things look pretty, but, the inventory of houses. We can increase the inventory of houses, single-family dwellings, well, actually duplexes and stuff, which is still a good idea. We increase our inventory, prices will go down. I think lumber is going down, too, so that'll benefit you. Yeah. So anyway, I think this is a good proposal, and I'm happy to support it.
And I'd only add, thank you, that I believe we can do more, and as a community and as a region, we have to continually try to make every effort to control the occupancy of the product that we are increasing, because I do believe that that's the only way that we're going to really address this housing crisis that we're all facing. So I appreciate that the folks involved in this project are seriously taking a look at that. So thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk take the roll, please?
Gookin?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
Aye.
McEvers?
Yes.
The second hearing before us is a zone change. The applicant is Bethel Baptist Church, and Sean Holmes, senior planner, will make this presentation. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Mayor. Give me a second here to get set up. All right. Mayor and City Council, tonight before you have a public hearing for a zone change, ZC 122, which is a request to change zones from an R12, which is existing, to an R17 on 2 contiguous parcels, each a little over half of an acre, for a total of 1.32 acres total. As you had mentioned, Neil McClellan is the applicant. The owner is Bethel Baptist Church. And legal notice was published in the Coeur d'Alene Press on April 30th and on the subject property on April 29th, and mailings were sent to property owners within 300 feet of the subject property per legal requirements. The Planning Commission makes a recommendation to City Council. They met on their regularly scheduled hearing last month on April 12th and voted unanimously 6-0 for approval. So this is the subject property just north of I-90. Here is a context of the site. Very sensitive microphone. So Bethel Baptist Church currently owns the subject properties as well as the 2 adjacent parcels to the east that contain the religious assembly facility and the supporting parking lot. A portion of the existing parking lot is located within the requested zone change. Parking code for a religious assembly requires 1 parking stall per 10 seats in the largest worship hall. The existing church has 150 seats, which necessitates 15 stalls. If the zone change request is approved, the church site would retain 82 stalls, 67 in excess of the current parking requirement. A single-family home has been removed on the westernmost parcel with the foundation remaining, and that is located here. That's where we based the commonly known as 525 West McFarland. Adjacent to that property is a single family, and adjacent to that is a triplex. To the north is Bora. This is the existing church that currently owns that property, and a duplex to the southeast in the 4th Street exit to the south. So here's prior zone change requests in the area. We get this question quite a bit at the Planning Commission level. So zone changes nearby. In 1984, there was a request from R12 to R17, and then later with an R34 special use permit. That happened in 1984. That was approved. There was an R12 to R17. That also had a special use permit, not necessarily for density increase, in 1994. That is up here in the corner. That was approved. That is elderly care. And then a zone change ZC 202 from R17 to C17, which is over here, and that was approved as well in 2002. There are 4 required findings that need to be made for a zone change request to be approved. Finding B8 is that the proposal is or is not in conformance with the comprehensive plan, and the subject property is currently within the city limits, and the 2022-2042 comprehensive plan categorizes this property as urban neighborhood place type. So much like Mike's earlier presentation, this is the future land use map in its entirety, so it shows the whole city. It's hard to see. It is the future land use map designates that urban neighborhood. When we zoom into that map, this is what it'll look like, and you can see this is the urban neighborhood category. Nearby is retail center, civic to the north and to the east, and then compact neighborhood around that area. So urban neighborhood places are highly walkable neighborhoods with larger multifamily building types, shared green spaces, and parking areas. They are typically served with a gridded street pattern for larger developments and may have internal circulation systems. The development typically consists of townhomes, condominiums, and apartments with convenient access to goods, services, and dining for nearby residents. Supporting uses include neighborhood parks, recreation facilities, parking, office, and commercial development. And these are the compatible zones: R17, R34 with a special use permit, neighborhood commercial, community commercial, C17 and C17L. They're requesting R17, which is on the lower portion of that scale. This further describes where the locations inside of the city are urban neighborhood place types, and once again reinforces those uses. So as a part of the comprehensive plan, there's maps that show bicycle network, walking network, and a transit network, and this little location pin shows where that is in location of the city, as well as what those facilities are that are nearby. So you can see where those are located. So the comprehensive plan policy framework, we pulled these out that are most compatible with what the request is. Goal CI, which is community and identities. Coeur d'Alene citizens are well-informed, responsive, involved in community decisions, basically saying, please show up to the hearings and voice your support or your opposition. Coeur d'Alene will strive to be livable for median and below income levels, include young families, working class, low income, and fixed income households. And the objective is to support efforts that preserve existing housing stock and provide opportunities for new, affordable, and workforce housing. Growth and development. Develop a mix of land uses throughout the city that balance housing and employment while preserving the qualities that make Coeur d'Alene a great place to live. The objectives that are here are 1.1 and 1.5, achieve a balance of housing product types and price points, including affordable housing to meet city needs, recognize neighborhood and district identities. The second goal and objective 2.1, ensure appropriate high-quality infrastructure to accommodate community needs and future growth. Ensure appropriate high-quality infrastructure to accommodate growth and development. So the next finding is B9, that public facilities and utilities are or are not available and adequate for the proposed use. This inside of your staff report on pages 9 and 10, you can find the comments that were made by our departments. They involve stormwater, streets, water, fire, and wastewater, and none of the departments found any reason to deny the request. Finding B10 is that the physical characteristics of the site do or do not make it suitable for the request at this time. I showed what the context of the site is and what the neighboring properties are. It's predominantly flat, has mature trees, grassy areas. There's a garden shed and a basketball hoop currently there that would go away at some point in the future for new development, fenced area that has a fallow garden. There's a church, duplex, triplex, single-family home, and an elementary school nearby, and to the south, I-90. So here's pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. So here's looking west, showing both Bora Elementary as well as the parking lot that is the subject property. Right here is the pin that was placed that shows where the edge of that eastern line is that runs across here and a portion of the parking lot that's in the subject property. And then this is the grassy area where the home was removed, the nearby single family and the triplex. The triplex, and then where you can see where the exit is for 4th Street. And then looking east down at the exit, you can see there is some grade change there just off of the subject property on the state's right-of-way. So R12, this is currently what an R12 is intended as, a residential area that permits a mix of housing not greater than 12 units per gross acre, and an R17 bumps that density up to 17 units per gross acre. That information in its entirety is in your staff report as well. So approval of the zone change request will intensify the potential of the property by increasing allowable uses and the density by right from R12 to R17. And I did a theoretical calculation. It could, as an R12, have 6 duplex lots, which would yield 12 units, and as R17, if the lots are consolidated, it would have a maximum of 23 total multifamily units. And B11 is that the proposal would or would not adversely affect surrounding neighborhood with regard to traffic, neighborhood character, and or land uses. Chris Bosley, our city engineer, analyzed traffic and he, using the manual, and came up with 1.32 acres in an R17 zoning district would generate an estimated 149 vehicle trips per day, 11 at the AM peak hour and 14 at the PM. And Streets and Engineering has no objections to the proposed, that should say zone change. So the neighborhood character, we've talked about that and what's nearby. There is a crossing across I-90 at 4th and 7th Streets. There is also an elementary directly to the north, 2 churches nearby, assisted care facility nearby, as well as commercial uses that are flanking both North 4th Street and Appleway Best Avenue to the north. Here's what that land use map looks like. You can see the blue is civic use currently. The yellow is single-family dwellings. The red is commercial. The brown is duplex. Here's existing zoning right now. So you can see largely the area is zoned R12. This is the subject property that would become kind of this oranger color as an R17. So with that, I'd like to end my report. The City Council will need to consider this request and make appropriate findings to approve, deny, or deny without prejudice. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to the mayor and stand for questions.
Questions? Woody?
Sean, this is church property. They already own it.
Correct.
So is there no city taxes coming from that parcel other than the church?
So my understanding is that religious assemblies do not pay taxes. I don't know, some choose to. I really don't know. That would be an operations question for the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sean, are they 2 lots that they're going to join into 1 lot, or are we zoning 2 lots?
There are 2 parcels that are requested. They share a property line down the center. So in the future, I'm not sure if they're going to consolidate it or sell them off separately. That would be a question for the applicant.
So the 2 lots, the one is zoned, I mean, you had a picture up there, and there's pictures in our packet, and it shows one's one color and one's another color.
That's for the future, that's for the land use map, so that's currently how it's used. So it's blue right now because it's a parking lot associated with the church, so that's civic use.
And so they want to, are they going to be combining both these lots then, or they can do that in the future?
You would need to ask the applicant that.
Is the applicant here?
They are?
Very good.
Yes.
And
I'll leave it
let's
at
see, what
that.
was my other question? Yeah, that was the lots bit. Yeah.
Not signed up to testify.
Well, you can call him up. The applicant is going to be testifying, right?
Yeah, the applicant is here. He didn't sign up. I thought that's for public comment versus the applicant.
Any further questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Christie?
just one. Sean, could you go over what the potential density would be again?
Sure. So currently, right now, it is zoned R12, and R12 requires a minimum lot size of 7,000 square feet for a duplex and 50 foot of frontage. And so that gets you the highest and best use in an R12 under our current zoning. And so that would yield 6 duplex lots for 12 units total. If they consolidate those 2 lots to get the highest and best use under R17, then they could get up to 23 total multifamily units, single ownership at 2,500 square feet per unit.
Do you know if there's been any conversation with Bora Elementary about any impact to them?
We did request comment from the school district. I talked to Shannon. We did not receive any.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Sean, on that blue civic zoning that the church uses, half of this property is a parking lot. How does that affect their requirement to have parking?
Okay, so that is in the background information. I read that right at the very beginning, so I'm guessing I glossed over, I said it early. So the church currently has 150 seats, so they need 15 stalls. So the requirement right now is 1 stall per 10 seats in the largest worship hall. So If the zone change request is approved, the church site would retain 82 stalls and 60, which is 67 in excess of the 15 stalls that are required. So there's definitely plenty of parking.
It sounded
left
like
over.
there was just a lot of parking for that church, so I thought maybe I had misunderstood. Thank you.
It's a lot of parking on that church.
Okay, I don't see any further questions. Thank you.
All right.
John. If the proponent would like to come forward, please.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, just-
They already own the dirt.
Swear you in. Start. So, I do solemnly swear and/or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So help me God. Thank you. Good evening. So I just looked at the question regarding
Can
taxes.
you introduce yourself first,
I'm-
please?
I'm sorry, I'm Neil McClellan. I made the request on behalf of Bethel Baptist Church.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So, in answer to your question regarding the taxes, right now it's $5.74 per lot. That's what the city, well, that's what's generated from those two lots. And they're not being used, they're just vacant. In regards to the question regarding traffic, I did notice on more than one occasion that there's literally no cars on that south portion of that street is empty, like all the time. The north side has some traffic. It's an urban neighborhood. It fits the criteria of being highly walkable. I did some research, and you could literally buy a car within walking distance, borrow off the car, sell the car, have the car fixed, and get parts for the car, all within walking distance of the proposed spot for the apartments. There's Denny's, Subway, Satay, Walking Coffee, Panda Express, longboards, foods, cards. There's a sporting goods store. There's a bank, Verizon. Everything is well within walking distance of the location. There's a bus station a half a mile away. So it all fits the walkable neighborhood criteria for the larger building types. It also has parks and recreation within a mile of the property. So as far as walkable, it's probably one of the more walkable locations in Coeur d'Alene, frankly. As far as the property itself, the intention would be to put the two properties together and sell them as one, and that would cut down on your setbacks. If you sold them separately, you'd have to have setbacks for both properties. That would maximize the use, and that would be the highest and best use would be the 23 units. And with the need for housing, obviously, apartments would be the cheapest way to go and probably the most affordable, and certainly an opportunity for new families. And ironically, they'd have an elementary school right across the street. It's a smooth transition from the arterial. It's main arterial, commercial, C-17. The only house is the single-family dwelling, and that's actually R12, and they don't have any objections to the zone change. There's no objection by the city traffic or utilities. I did say it's the highest best use. You would generate income for the county and the city as opposed to the $11.34 that they're getting now, if I did the math right. Let's see. Oh, the freeway that's your other main arterial is right there. The access is right on the other side of the commercial area. I think that's pretty much everything, and it's the highest and best use for the property. Did I answer your questions?
Further questions? Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. McClellan, are you with the church?
I'm not. The pastor's a good friend of mine. I actually go to a church in Hayden.
So the church,
I'm also a realtor, not a public speaker, but a realtor.
There's a difference?
I don't know.
You're doing
so the
fine.
motivation for a church to rezone it is to sell it.
Correct.
And I'm curious as to why the church would pay to have a rezone done on their property prior to sale.
Money. It's worth more rezoned as R17 than it is as R12, because you can put more units on the property.
Okay, is there a buyer lined up?
No. They'll use the money to make some repairs to the current facility. I think they're going to add some handicap, in fact, I know they're going to add some handicap access. They don't have a lot of money without getting into it any further.
Well,
Yeah.
ideally, we don't want our churches to be rolling in money. I mean,
No, it's, right.
Yeah, so that's their motivation, is to sell it, and they realize that they're going to get more money for an R17 than an R12.
Right. When I first went to the property to look at it, it had the duplexes, but because of the shapes of the properties, it just doesn't maximize the use of the land. And from where it was at, it just seemed like well, I shouldn't say that, a no-brainer to change it to a R17.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
I'll open the public hearing, and I'll note that no one has signed up to testify, so I will close the public hearing.
I have a question for Sean.
Sean? You have not escaped unscathed.
It's just 'cause I
Here
like
for
him.
the duration.
Sean, I didn't see, or maybe I overlooked, is there a map of this area that shows the existing zoning?
Yes,
Yeah,
there
he shows
is. Give me a moment. Hopefully I don't make anyone seasick.
So no, that's not it. Oh, that's it.
This is the existing.
So it's a C of R12.
It is a C of R12, and I believe, I don't know because I don't have the map up in front of me. Generally, R12s with a school district will have a special use permit. This was a zone change to R17 that I mentioned earlier on that sheet. The triplex is currently non-conforming. That is more of an R17 type of use than the single-family house next door. Churches and schools generally have special use permits in R12.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Okay,
If I could,
pardon?
may I?
Sir?
And,
If I'm not mistaken.
You have to be at the mic
Oh,
because
sorry.
of,
Oh, okay. I did some these are all R17 also, right here.
oh, yeah, that's good at that. Red or yellow mustard.
okay, you have a proposed action before you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to dispense with the rule and read Council Bill 221004 once by title only.
Second.
You have a motion and a second for the discussion on that motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, or no, roll call, please.
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
McEvers?
Yes.
Gookin?
Yeah.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
The motion carries. Would the clerk read the title?
City Council Bill 22-1004, an ordinance amending the zoning act of the City of Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai County, Idaho, known as ordinance number 1691, ordinances of the City of Coeur d'Alene, by changing the following described property from R12 to R17, said property being described as follows, to wit, 525 East Marfinland Avenue, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, provide for the publication of a summary of this ordinance and an effective date hereof.
Thank you. So. would
Oh,
some-
motion to adopt Council Bill 221004.
Second.
Have a motion second. Yes, Stan.
Yeah, I'm going to oppose this. I'd be okay with R12, but I'm not okay with R17.
Okay, Dan?
Oh, I'd just say, in looking at the whole picture, I'm supportive of this. I know the area fairly well. In fact, in the past, went to the church, went to Bora School. And I think I can appreciate that the church, if they've got an opportunity to kind of like fixing up your car, your house before you sell it, if they've got something, you know, invest in something, and then they've got a chance to, you know, kind of do more with the talent that they have and the money that they're going to get, and sounds like kind of reinvest in the church. That's, you know, I think that's a good thing in the American way, and I certainly, I can appreciate that we need more housing and the density, you know, how this exact one fits in, I don't know, but I think that's a great area for some additional units, and agree with the speaker. I mean, it's great access and a good location, so I think it makes sense to just go up a little on the zoning.
Christie?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I actually do think it's the highest, best use for that property right there. I can't imagine what else you would put there. And I do like that it's within walking distance of numerous things for citizens, so I'm in favor of it.
Woody?
I would just like to say I'm looking forward to seeing some tax rolls come back on that property to pay for the snow plowing and the things we take for granted here.
Okay, will the clerk take the roll, please?
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
No.
McEvers?
Yes.
Gookin?
No.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion carries. We next have a vacation, but before we do that,
Is it my birthday?
Again?
oh, no, we have a special guest in the audience, and he's going to be moving away. He shares the same surname as me, and my oldest grandson is here tonight, Everett, and just wanted to welcome him because he's moving away, and he was kind enough to come to council tonight for his grandpa before he left town.
Do we get cookies?
Good for
Hi,
you.
Everett.
Okay, vacation of Mountain Avenue.
A little early for a summer vacation.
Pardon?
Summer vacation.
Yeah, well, I wish.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me before you tonight for these right-of-way vacation requests. I was just going to zoom in here real quick to show you where this one is, and it'll probably make some more sense. Right here. So, the vacation request before you tonight for the first request is at 1104 East Mountain Avenue. The right-of-way was dedicated to the city of Coeur d'Alene in 1907, and this parcel right here is what we're talking about. And you see, if I click on it, the boundary of the parcel runs due east and west, but the road runs at an angle to it. So there's a weird angle going on there with the way that the streets were laid out. So, showing you the display for the right-of-way vacation request. We're looking at 852 square feet of right-of-way that they wish to vacate to them. This is so that they can do a remodel of the garage and meet setbacks with that. The way that we had met with the applicants and determined that if we just left 10 feet from the curb to that future property line, it shouldn't cause any problems in the future. That'll give us room for future sidewalk and tree strip or anything like that. All the utilities are in the street, so we don't have any need for that right-of-way. And mailers were sent out, and we sent out 41 of them looking for responses. We received 6, 5 were for, 0 against, and 1 was neutral. So with that, I would stand for any questions.
Questions? I see no question.
Woody.
Woody?
Oh, so we don't do sidewalks on Mountain?
There are none currently.
Okay, so even them doing a garage or doesn't trigger that?
No, the way our ordinance is written, you have to be within 300 feet of another sidewalk to continue that sidewalk.
Thank you.
Further discussion or questions? Thank you. Is the applicant here tonight?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
behind him.
Would you like her to come up?
Well, if she wishes, or he wishes. I'm sure that my councilman has questions, right?
Yeah, well, just observation. I mean, Chris, could you bring up the aerial view, the satellite image there?
Yes.
Thank you. So if you click on the property and you see where the actual property line is, and then you see the area where they want to annex, ma'am, you've been mowing lawn on city property for a long time.
Yes.
I guess it's about time you owned that, what you've taken care of for so long. So I'm good with this. But I want to show people this happens so often in the city that, you think your front yard goes out to the street or the sidewalk, and it doesn't. And so these things, they make sense. It's on an angle, so it's not like you're going to be jutting your house out farther than everyone else on the block. It's a good vacation. Thank you for applying.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to
You bet.
dispense with the
Please.
rule and read Council Bill number 22-1005 once by title only.
Second.
Please read the title.
Council Bill number 22-1005, an ordinance of the City
Oh,
Council.
you know what? I didn't have you take the roll yet. Would you please take the roll?
We'd have, and also, I think you need to open and close public hearing.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess so.
So just minor things.
I think it's a public hearing.
I'm going to open the public hearing on this vacation V-22-02 and note that there is no one wishing to testify, so I will close the public hearing. Now, clerk, take the roll, please.
Miller,
Yes.
McEvers.
Yes.
Gookin,
I suppose.
English.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Please read the title.
Council Bill number 22-1005, an ordinance of the City of Coeur d'Alene vacating a portion of Mountain Avenue right-of-way located in the Lake Shore Addition as recorded in Book B of Plats, page 128, instrument number 27341, records of Kootenai County, Idaho, generally described as that strip of land adjoining the northerly border of Lot 13, Block 24 of the Lake Shore Addition, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, and providing for the publication of the summary of this ordinance and an effective date hereof.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt Council Bill number 22-1005.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, will you take the roll, please?
Miller.
Aye.
McEvers.
Yes.
Gookin.
Yep.
English.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Okay, take it away, Chris, on another vacation.
All right, number 2. So this one, the applicant is Ignite CDA. This is our Atlas Waterfront development we've got going on. And this one is here on Veneer Road. This aerial photo obviously is not new enough to show the improvements that have been made so far, but you can see right here in the corner how it comes to a point rather than following the curve of this road. Well, there was as this property started to morph and develop, there have been a lot of changes, and now a retaining wall is going to be running through there. With the city not wishing to maintain a retaining wall, the homeowners association would be doing that. So this is to put that retaining wall out of public right-of-way into the homeowners association property where they can maintain it, and then it would have an easement for public access if we need to get to it for any reason. This property was dedicated to the city just 2 years ago in 2020. It is only 946 feet of it, but I will show you the exhibit here. And like I said, this is that corner piece right here. The new right-of-way line would follow the curvature of the road, and then this line type here with the X on it would be the actual retaining wall, and this dashed line around here would be the easement for that. So this just takes it out of the city right-of-way. And mailers were sent out for comment on this, a total of 6, because there aren't many neighbors out there, and no responses were received. So I would stand for any questions.
Discussions on this? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Surprisingly, there is no one wishing to testify. We will close the public hearing. There is a motion before you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to dispense with the rule and read Council Bill number 22-1006 once by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Wood. Take the roll, please.
McEvers.
Yes.
Gookin.
Yeah.
English.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
Would you please read the title?
Council Bill number 22-1006, an ordinance of the City of Coeur d'Alene vacating a portion of Veneer Road right-of-way located in the Atlas Waterfront First Edition as recorded in Book L of Plats, page 519, Records of Kootenai County, Idaho, generally describes as that strip of land adjoining the southwesternly border of Lot 1, Block 4 of the Atlas Waterfront First Edition, and Lots 5, 6, and 7, Block 6 of the Atlas Waterfront Second Edition, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, and providing for the publication of a summary of this ordinance and an effective date hereof.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt Council Bill number 22-1006.
Second.
We have motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk take the roll, please?
McEvers.
Yes.
Gookin.
You bet.
English.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
And we have another vacation.
All right, last one for tonight. So this one is on Atlas Road, also in the Atlas Waterfront development. So Atlas Road comes down here and then heads down to the park. There is some development planned on the west side of that. Originally, there was going to be a trail that ran along the west side of that road and then down into the park system there. But it has been since moved to the back side of that where there are no conflicts with driveways and parking lots. And so it'll run behind those businesses and down, or those commercial developments there, and then down to the Atlas Waterfront Park Trail System down there. So Ignite is also, well, no, this is actually Atlas Mill 10/12 Investment LLC is the actual applicant on this one. Sorry for that. This right-of-way was dedicated to the city in 2020. This one is actually 4,142 square feet of right-of-way that would be put onto the tax rolls. And this is turned sideways, so you'd have to turn your head to the left to look at this north. But on this west side of the Atlas Road, this is the 4,000 plus square feet that we're talking about there. The other benefit of vacating this right-of-way is that they'll be able to put steps and retaining walls into the lower levels of these businesses, keeping those steps and retaining walls out of city right-of-way so that they don't need any sort of encroachment agreement on that. So we feel like this is a good solution to that. The mailers were sent out, 10 of them from this location because it's a little closer to people out there, and still no responses were received on this one either. So I would stand for any questions.
Questions? Yes.
Chris, are the streets and curbs and gutters that are shown right there already in?
Yes.
Other questions? Woody?
So Chris, this is the right-of-way for the trail, was. We're letting it go and trading it on the west side, is that what's happening?
Yes, it runs down the west property line of the entire development on the border with the adjacent development to the west.
Got it, thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I will open the public hearing for V-22-04. And note that no one has signed up to testify, so I will close the public hearing, and there is a motion before you, Council.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to approve V-2204, vacation of a portion of Atlas Road right-of-way adjoining the easterly boundary lot line of Lot 1 and 2, Block 1 of the Atlas Waterfront First Edition.
Mr. Mayor, the motion is to dispense with the rule.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that whole thing. Dang. I need to go back.
Second.
Do you withdraw your motion?
Yes, I would. I would like to move to dispense with the rule and read Council Bill 221007. I need to take a nap.
Second.
We have a motion second. Clerk, take the roll, please.
Gookin?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
Aye.
McEvers?
Yes.
Motion carries. Will the clerk read the roll, please?
Council Bill number 22-1007, an ordinance of the City of Coeur d'Alene vacating a portion of Atlas Road right-of-way located in the Atlas Waterfront First Edition, as recorded in Book L of Plats, page 519, records of Kootenai County, generally described as that strip of land adjoining the easterly boundary of Lot 1 and Lot 2, Block 1 of said plat, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, and providing for the publication of a summary of this ordinance and an effective date hereof.
Take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to adopt Council Bill 221007.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes, Dan.
Oh, no, I was just holding my hand up so I could see what I was writing.
Don't do that. Keep your hands to yourself.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just wanted to say, Chris, I'm not trying to just be cool here. I had some eye issues, so I'm keeping my glasses on.
I never
to
made
avoid
that
lights.
assumption. But you
know
do look cool.
You were looking up there going, okay, what's she bringing on the cool for?
I thought they were prescription sunglasses.
I thought we were
I would
going
do
on
the same.
vacation, and I just brought the glasses.
We certainly have.
Sunglasses day.
You are
no one
cool.
told me.
You are
That's-
cool.
Better get a hold of this group here real quick. We have a motion and a second. Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Gookin?
Yep.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Miller?
Aye.
McEvers?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to move that we...
Wait a minute.
that you talk.
Hold your horses.
It's still nice.
Many of the council have approached the mayor asking for more input into the budget. Thus, there is a motion before you for a recess rather than, what do you call it?
Adjournment.
Adjournment. I was going to say acquittal.
That comes later.
Recess.
I'll take acquittal. So, go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move to recess to June 2nd, 2022 at 9 a.m. here in the library community room located at 702 East Front Avenue for a pre-budget workshop.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, respond with aye.
Aye.
Opposed with nay. Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Now you may go on vacation.
Recess.